LinkedIn is the place people go help each other and network with the right people. And when you market yourself, you have to brand, you have to showcase your right talent at right time. So we need to reach out professionals. Like with my today's guest is Dr. Scott Dell. He is a CPA and he's CPA professor, full-time academic and entrepreneur. We are going to find out how he does all that. Please help me welcome Dr. Scott Dell. Welcome, Dr. Scott.
Bashir, excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who are you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Well, it was family roots in business that got me excited about business. And I enjoy being in business and helping others do their thing as well. And that's the orientation that I knew from a young age that business was a direction I wanted to be in. I did start out studying engineering at the Naval Academy, but realized when I left that I'd have to be an engineer if I stayed in engineering. And I knew I wanted to be in business. So I said, what's the next best background? Looked at operations, marketing, management. And I said, accounting, if you don't track the numbers, you don't stay in business very long. So that's the pursuit I went and became a CPA.
What are top 3 mistakes to avoid?
The 3 mistakes. Actually, I've learned more from my failures and my mistakes than my successes. One is attention to detail. It all doesn't kind of flow. I might have some wonderful ideas, but if I can't get them down, the devil's in the details, make things happen, that's going to be a real impediment to success. The other is about people, and the people make the difference. You really can't do it alone. That's why so many folks that do sports in school and high school, college, that are part of teams, become pretty effective in business because they're used to working with other folks. No man or woman is an island. You can't do it all alone, even though you think you can. You can do a lot of things alone, and a lot of ideas may come from you, but to effectively execute takes a balance of other folks' talents that need to be corralled and add to the inspirations. And I think I just gave you 2, but there are 3 kinds of accountants, those that can count and those that can't. So.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
My biggest challenge, like I say, I've learned more from failures and successes. And I've been fired before, and I've been fired multiple times, but I've also succeeded. I've actually grown businesses and hired lots of folks. So what I learned from being fired is the shortcomings that I had. I'm far from perfect, but a lot of those things are revolved around interactions that basically needing to stay positive, to stay upbeat, and having that attitude of going forward, helping others, making a difference. That's how I recovered from the times that people would let me go, because I'd say, what's wrong with me? But it's not so much what's wrong, it's what's right and what can you improve upon.
What are top 3 success secrets that others can follow?
Success what?
What are top 3 success secrets that others can follow?
Success secrets. One, it's about the people and communication, lines of communication. I'll tell you, there isn't a business or a family that could not have better lines of communication. So keeping those lines of communication open and effectively communicating is very, very powerful. The other success is rainy day funds. It does boil down to the money. Now, in accounting, there is an evolution to what used to be just profits was the goal. It's people, planet, and profit. It's called the triple bottom line. But even a non-profit, if they don't show a profit, if they don't run like a business, they're going to close their doors as quickly as not a for-profit entity. So you really need to manage the numbers and save for a rainy day. So you need to build up that cushion. You can't live hand to mouth. If people live paycheck to paycheck, which many do, not that it's good or bad, it's just that it's not a practical way to long-term success. In the same way in business, you can't live payroll to payroll. You really have to plan. You really have to adjust. I had a situation where a bank said they were going to back me. I was short on payroll. And then as I was driving between two of our offices, they said, nah, we decided not to do that. We actually had to delay our payroll a week and a half. We had to back our employees, any additional challenges they had from maybe penalties, delays in payment. We make good for all our employees. But it was pretty frustrating when we had a verbal assurance saying, hey, we're going to be short. Here's where we're at. Here's what we need. And they said, no problem, no problem, no problem. And push came to shove, there was a problem. So we came out of it. We actually flowed back, and we learned from that as well.
What is the most impactful business book you read, and what did you learn from it?
You're asking about secrets. And recently I read a book called The $1 Billion Secret, Raphael Badziak. And I actually have it right here. And you can see a whole bunch of tabs that I kind of pulled some tidbits from. And they basically talk to 20 billionaires. And by the way, there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door, which I strongly recommend, a great book. But I said, let's go to the next step. Let's see what the billionaires are doing, not just the millionaires. And they talk about the 6 habits for effective billionaires. And a lot of it is read, contemplate, and think of what they do. That's part of the 6 habits, as well as a discipline to execute that. And then they went a little further, not just the habits, but they had some principles that go behind that. And they talked about 6 skills to help succeed. And a lot of the skills revolved around communication, working together, the emotional intelligence that you hear a lot about these days, having that ability to be able to communicate and listen. It's the 2 ears, 1 mouth formula, that we do need to listen and actively listen, not just hear and then talk about our own stuff. And the final conclusion that pulled it together was honesty and ethics. Once you break trust, very difficult to restore. So you really want to be above board. You want to be able to ethically express and be consistent in what you do and how you do it. All these billionaires don't have to work, but they do. All these billionaires seem to have passions that they pursue, and they work by choice and they do things by choice. And they even know they can't do it all. And they know there are areas that will be sacrificed based on the choices they make. Once you have that awareness, that self-awareness, you can be aware about other people as well.
What do you want to be remembered for?
Ultimately, making a difference. Friends, family, business. I found that, and I've been a full-time academic for the past 15 years. I just got my doctorate a year and a half ago. So I'm a newly minted doctor, and not that kind of doctor. I'm a doctorate in business. I never thought I'd be a full-time academic. I've been in business a long time, worked for the Big 8, which is now the Big 4 largest CPA firms in the world, have deep roots in business, have a lot of entrepreneurial experience. It's time for me to be remembered as giving back and making a difference. I do a lot in the career space, the 18 to 28-year-olds, hence the LinkedIn ties in, and the schooling. So the ties of helping others to pursue what they want, and that's the legacy I seek to leave behind.
Dr. Scott, we are going into quick questions and quick answers round. Are you ready for it?
Go for it.
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
How do I work on challenges that get thrown at me?
Yeah. How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
Full force, head on. You got to take it in and deal with it. It's not going to go away. No decision is a decision. I'd rather be proactive. than reactive.
Once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
That can be a challenge, but it's the what's in it for me, WIFM, mean what's in it for them. Every piece of marketing material, every communication, I look at what's in it for the person reading it. So in this case, my spouse, when to get her on board, if it's going to take some sacrifice, what's the ultimate goal, the ultimate direction, what's the big picture?
What do you want to do when you grow up?
I'm still not sure. I advise a lot of students, and I always have to preface my comment saying, I need to ask you this question. And I'm going to preface it that I'm not sure what I want to be when I grow up, but I need to ask you, what do you want to do when you grow up, when you graduate, when you leave school, or you go on to your career? So I don't know. I'm not sure either, but I like what I'm doing. I'm going to keep doing it.
Who is your living mentor and what is the impact they have on you?
I will say I'm at an age now that some of my mentors are unfortunately no longer with us. And like I say, family was crucial. My dad was in business and made a difference. And then you look at the global spectrum, you look at the Gandhis of the world and how they made a difference, how they inspired, how they influenced. So those are the kind of folks that I like to emulate. I like to see. I don't claim to be a Gandhi, but I do see the value and insights that those kind of folks are able to inspire, and hopefully can glean some of that and share some of that and help others through using those ideas and thoughts.
What are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here with you. And I'm also grateful for, as I say, any vertical day is a good one. I have my health, I have my family, and I have challenges. And I'm actually grateful for those challenges because they give raison d'etre. They give a reason to live, a reason to do something, and a reason to accomplish goals.
Why is being impactful important to you?
Being impactful and making a difference is important to me because I think that's why I'm here. That's why we're here. We could be pretty selfish about it. And if your goal is to make money, and then in that billionaire book, The $1 Billion Secret, their goal is not to make money. Most of them are self-made and made billions. They didn't come from the trust fund kids. They were folks they may have been homeless. They may have come out of poverty. They may have come out of middle class, but they came up through the ranks and became very successful in what they do. And that's also where goals that I have and directions I like to see.
How do you start your day?
First thing in the morning, I rehydrate, start with a glass of water. I go online because I'm seeing what's going on, become aware of what's going on in the world. And then I have my to-do list of what I need to accomplish. One of the 2 entrepreneurial endeavors I started during COVID, I have an 8 a.m. meeting with a colleague, a disabled vet, actually, who's a partner in one of the businesses, and something called introedge.com. And we go ahead and we compare notes. We're planning a 5-day challenge on LinkedIn. We're doing some other activities. And then we go through, and the rest of the day is basically executing ideas from the to-do and other things that need to get done. And by the way, in the $1 Billion Secret, that was one of the things. Almost every one of them gets up early by 5, 6 a.m. Often they have an exercise regimen or other rituals that gets them started. And that's a powerful way to kick things off.
Who is your ideal client?
My ideal client, well, since I have a couple of businesses, I'll share the Influity.net is the entrepreneur or solopreneur, the person that has ideas, insights, and wants to gain additional exposure and understanding. We talk about the know, like, and trust factor for small business folks, for coaches, for consultants. I'm in the learn, share, and grow mode with Influity.net. We learn from each other, we share ideas, and we grow together. And it's a pretty valuable tool for sharing. And we do a weekly Thursday evening, 5 p.m. Eastern time. We do a podcast. We do an unnetworking, a unique networking session. And we do a posting party where people can establish their own expertise and reputation and build that in LinkedIn platform and Facebook platforms. So that's a tool and an environment where we don't post a LinkedIn URL or in fluity.net URL. We don't do a 30 or 60-second pitch. We call it unnetworking or unique networking because you do business with people, not with businesses. And we emphasize the humanity side, the people side.
What is the advice you would give your younger self?
That was one of our questions actually in our unnetworking session just last Thursday. What would you, talking to your 20-something, what advice would you give? And I do like the Nike tagline of just do it, but just do it, you need to go a little further. What do what? Okay, do it. Make dessert, have an ice cream. There's a time for that too, but anything that you can get involved with. I'm always talking to my students. I'm talking to family members. I'm saying, do it, get involved, get experience. It's not just the academics or the classroom. We're all in sales. I'm in the classroom saying, here's why you want to learn financial accounting. It's the language of business. And if you can understand this stuff, you will go far. Now I need to sell that. You say, wait a minute, but you're an accounting professor, you're an entrepreneur. What are you selling in a classroom? Well, I need to sell the idea that this is important stuff, that this is powerful stuff. And having had experience doing much of what I teach is even makes it more powerful and impactful for me. So hopefully I can share that with my students and colleagues.
What do you say about your guest experience on the show today?
I enjoyed your company, and anytime I'm asked questions, it helps me think. And the way I get to answer those, it kind of reinforces. So self-knowledge, like self-love before you can love anybody else. If you can understand yourself, you can further understand others. And you were asking some very good questions to help me gain insight into myself and why I do what I do, ultimately to help others and make a difference.
What would you say as a final word?
As a final word, make it happen. We're all in this together. I'm open to conversations. I'm open to opportunities and open to share goals, directions, insights with anybody that would like to have a conversation. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I thank you. Gratitude is key.
Thank you, Dr. Scott, for sharing your time and wisdom with us on the behalf of Entrepreneur Empowerment Club and our entire team. Really appreciate you. Hope our paths cross again with another amazing guest. Until then, you have good time.
Be well. Again, do appreciate. We'll look forward to future opportunities.